Pod moth.
What time is it? Let me check my watch. Oh, it's Bone o'clock.
Bone-anza.
Thank you. Bone-anza. Thank you.
Bone-anza.
Count it. Bone-anza. Thank you.
We're having a bonanza.
Bonanza. Thank you. Thank you. Count it. Count it.
Bonanza. Bonanza.
Bonanza. Bonanza.
Hello and welcome to Anything Bones. I'm Sophie Schwartz.
And I'm Katelyn Hart, and we're here to say we like to talk bones in a fascinating way.
We're here to give you another bonanza. You've missed it so much, I know.
Yeah, we haven't done a bonanza in a hot minute. Hot. Yeah, it's time for another bonanza, and since we're fresh out of our spooky season, our spookiest time of the season. Spooky season lives in our hearts forever.
It's true.
But November is a little less spooky than October, so we thought we'd hit you with some animal bonanza facts.
Yeah, something a little more, well, I don't know if it'll be cute or cuddly, but something to ease you from the spooky time.
Yeah, it's going to be bone related, but we're going to really learn something here, folks, about animals.
Yeah, truly. And to kind of start that off, I have a fun opening bit for us.
Okay.
So, Katelyn, I have a quiz for you. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This quiz is called, What is the Deadliest Animal to Humans?
Oh my god. Are you going to give me multiple choice, or do I have to just guess?
We're gonna have you guess the top 3 most dangerous animals to human beings.
This list is from Wikipedia.
Because in my research, of course, think about animals, think about bones. I was like, what animal creates the most bones?
Yeah.
This is not related to any of my topics for the show. I just thought this would be fun.
It's interesting, though. Oh my god. Okay.
All right, so what do you think the number 1 most deadly animal creature to humans is?
Okay. Shoot. My heart says shark, but I also feel like shark attacks aren't that common. I'm gonna go, I think it's something common. So I'm just gonna go with, dog.
Ooh, dog is on the longer list.
Okay.
But it is not this high. I will tell you what it is. This one's a little bit of a lateral thinking puzzle. It's mosquitoes. Because diseases.
Yeah, God, those fuckers.
But with that in mind, can you tell me what the second most dangerous animal to humans is?
Well, I'm gonna say shark. It's where my heart is.
Ooh, shark is not even on this list.
God damn it! I should have followed the logic that I started with. Okay. I just want to try again. I'm trying a cheetah a cheetah.
Okay. You think cheetah is the second deadliest? This is most human deaths per year. I should have told you that. Most human deaths per year. Mosquitoes have 750,000 human deaths a year. So what do you think the second one would be?
Why am I drawing a complete blank? Tuna fish, because mercury.
That is a great guess, but not even close. It is human beings.
Oh, my God.
Are the second most dangerous animals to humans. That's about 437,000 homicides a year for humans.
Yeah, I see that.
Number 3, you can get this one. It is a dangerous animal. It is a dangerous animal.
A lion.
That you would be afraid of. A lion. Okay, is lion your final answer?
No, by your tone? No. Gorilla.
Okay, gorilla is an excellent answer, but totally incorrect. The third one would be snakes. Snakes was the answer we were looking for.
God, of course. Damn it. I didn't even think of that. Those poisonous fuckers.
Yeah, snakes will get you, and they have a lot of bones.
Ooh.
Well, Katelyn, that's an 0 for 3 for you for the quiz, but I'm sure in the next quiz you will do so much better.
Yeah, that's okay. You can't win them all.
Can't win them all. Should I start off with my bony topic?
Please.
One of my many? All right. So this topic, when I think about bones and I think about animals, the first thing I kind of think about is fossils and evolution, I guess. So I kind of went in this direction because scientists have recently found the fossilized remains of an ancient fish that shows one of the most important evolutionary developments, which is bones.
Shit. So a fish didn't have bones at some point and then they did.
Yeah, and some fish still don't. So my source for this is a National Geographic article. So bones, as we know, they provide structure to the body. Bones maintain themselves, repair injuries, and provide key nutrients to the bloodstream, right? Well, in prehistoric history, this was not always the case. Creatures at this time, which were mostly fish, bone grew as like a concrete, like outer shell, like a protective outer layer with no bones on the inside.
Like a turtle shell.
Yeah, like a protective outer shell, but it wasn't made of like living cells the way we have bones today, the way our bones do so much for us. So there's a new study in the Journal of Science Advances that the first bones with living cells evolved about 400 million years ago.
Dang. It's a long time.
Yeah, which is nuts. And the first kind of example of these bones that acted as like an energy source to the being helped prehistoric fish to travel greater distances. Which is very interesting. So these fossilized creatures are called osteostracans. Osteostracans.
Sure. Sounds like a spell from Harry Potter, but sure.
Well, it means bony shields, Katelyn.
I like that.
Right? Isn't that right up our alley?
I like a bony shield.
And these fish are interesting because they're like big armored fish. Like this was the time of armored fish, which sounds rad as hell, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love a strong fish.
Yeah, and these fish that we're talking about are some of the first to have internal skeletons, which is going to be important later to make humans.
Sure, yeah. We came from the slime.
Yeah, and these fish are pretty funny looking. They have a big, long, like flexible tail, like an armored flat front end, and no jaws.
Nice.
So they're just kind of swimming around,
Vibing,
yes. So the researchers who published this study were focusing on osteocytes, which are the like living bone cells like our bones have that provide minerals and are part of skeletal growth. And kind of the earliest animals with bones didn't have these osteocytes. And some modern fish actually don't have them as well. But this kind of opened up the question, like, when did we start having not like intelligent bone, but bone that served more than just as a protective layer?
Yeah, cool.
And so they kind of developed this technique. Usually how they would look at fossils is that they would like take slices, look at it under a microscope, but they used this technique called ion beam milling.
Okay. Sounds like it's from Star Trek.
Yeah, I was going to say, which sounds like something a Bond villain would use to blow up the world.
Yes.
So this basically creates like detailed 3D scans of the fossils so that they can see like what the full shape of these cells were. And that's how they kind of figured out what their function was. Because when they looked at the scans, it didn't show the actual bone cells, but like the cavities where they used to be. And they thought that this was just from the bone decaying, but it was actually from the bone like dissolving into the fish and like giving it nutrients.
Huh. Very nuanced.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Like I was saying, the cells turned bone tissue into a kind of energy source for the fish, which allowed them to swim farther, which took vertebrates farther and closer to getting up on land.
Yeah. Ugh. They're flipping their tail right over to the beach.
Yeah. And without these kind of like resources, like you're saying, without the being able to access these minerals, vertebrates may never have made it to land without like these osteocytes, these bone cells. And without these fun bone cells, we wouldn't have gotten great creatures that we all love, like dinosaurs and mammals.
Yeah, those are some important things.
Yeah, and it's pretty exciting, this technology, to be able to scan these types of fossils, because it's what helped us unlock the function of this ancient bone and could help us figure out, more about where we came from, in our evolutionary chain.
Yeah. The way you describe that machine, though, it kind of makes it sound like something that Angela would make in Bones. Like,
oh, absolutely.
All the rendering she does and holograms and shit.
Yeah. It's totally an Angela thing, because it actually destroys like the top layer too of fossil. So it's it's a kind of like you got one shot to do it.
Yeah, I guess. Or you're going to keep degrading the sample.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was my first bone topic. My first Bone-anza topic. Back in the bone saddle.
Back in Bone-anza again.
Yeah.
Okay. So for my first Bone-anza topic, I looked at a couple articles, one from discoverwildlife.com and then also animalfactsencyclopedia.com. Very helpful. Today I want to talk about hyenas.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Hyenas are really mysterious to me. The first time I encountered the idea of a hyena, I would say was Lion King.
That was my immediate thought.
Yeah, of course. So in Lion King, the hyenas are nasty. They're henchmen to Scar, the villain, and shit. And that's not really far off from how hyenas are thought of these days. And also forever, because apparently for centuries, hyenas were said to have the souls of the damned trapped inside of them because there's the way that they sound when they're hunting or squealing at each other. It sounds like it's just bad shit.
Is it in Buffy that they say that the hyenas can learn your name and
I don't remember
call
that.
your name? I don't know. Some sort of weird hyena legend where I don't know, it sounds like hyenas are calling your name and don't go out there because they'll fucking eat you. I don't know.
I don't remember that one, but there were a lot of Buffy episodes, so, I could have forgotten one.
Bone-anza Sophie here, just ducking in because I was really interested about this. So, according to New World Encyclopedia, hyenas' laughter inspired the idea in local cultures that they could imitate human voices and call their victims by name. So, hyena laughs extremely creepy and can sound like people.
So hyenas have a bad rep. People think that they're yucky scavengers and they'll eat anything. And they will. But they also they will hunt if they feel like it. And they will organize as a group and take down their prey. So if they're in a pack, they usually actually hunt and kill what they eat. But nobody's gonna turn down some yummy looking dead lion meat or something on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they are scavengers too, but they are hunters as well. They're kind of zoologically, am I saying that word right? Zoologically, they're classified kind of in their own family, and they kind of are in between felines and canines in some ways. They're like canines in that they, quote, hunt by running down their prey and grabbing it with their mouths, not their paws, But like felines, they groom themselves and often scent mark their territory, aka urine.
AKA pee all over everything.
Okay, hyenas are cool, Caitlin, but let's get to the bone stuff.
Yeah, where did the bones come in?
Did you know that hyenas' teeth are bone-crushing teeth?
That's metal as hell.
Yeah, that's goddamn right. So, hyenas are, like, unique in their ability to crush bone with their teeth. They've got short, powerful canine teeth at the front, you know, like what you see when a hyena, I guess, smiles at you or something. But in the back of the jaw, they have what are called carnassials. Carnassials, I think. Carnassials. And these giant teeth in the back of their jaw just like absolutely destroy bones right when they're chomping. And they can actually pulverize skeletons of prey as big as a wildebeest.
Lord.
And hyenas actually consume so much bone that sometimes their poop has a chalky white color, like because of eating bone.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And just a couple more interesting facts about hyenas, because that's really the big bone connection.
Yeah, I would say so.
I didn't know this, but I guess female spotted hyenas have genitalia that like outwardly looks the same as male hyenas. Which is just kind of an interesting fact. And also, these hyenas sometimes live in a matriarchal society, which is actually kind of rare in the world of mammals. The female hyenas are larger and like more aggressive usually, actually, which I love.
Yeah.
I love this quote. The highest ranking male in the clan is generally subordinate to the lowest ranking female.
Hell yeah.
Okay. This just sums it up perfectly. This is another quote. Quote, these spotted hyena clans are rude, boisterous, highly social groups that spend a lot of time pushing and shoving, but will ultimately spend the afternoon siesta snuggled in a huge, shaggy pile.
Aww. Ain't that family, though?
Yeah, that's cute. So yeah, that's hyenas and their incredible bone-crushing teeth.
Damn, I love that. Like, you had texted me earlier this week being like, hey, I got hyenas. And while I was researching, I was like, I wonder what drew her to hyenas. I just started looking at hyenas. I was like, don't do it. But I looked at a picture of a hyena. I was like, damn, those are cool looking animals.
Yeah, they're kind of funky looking, but I like hyenas. They're scrappy.
They're scrappy, and you gotta be to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna pop you over a picture for the start of my next topic.
My sources for this story were Atlas Obscura and Wikipedia.
Okay, so I think we're in the desert. This is definitely a very big skeleton. I'm thinking dinosaur.
You are, in a way, quite close.
Big whale?
Yes, bitch.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, bitch. You know a whale skeleton when you see one.
It just took me a moment to recognize it.
So this is Wadi al-Hitan, or Valley of the Whales.
Yes. Oh my god, spooky. Where is it?
Oh, it's in Sophie's favorite place in the world, Egypt.
Of course.
Yeah, it's about 93 miles southwest of Cairo.
Cool.
And it is an UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was designated as such in July of 2005 because it has hundreds of fossils and some of the earliest forms of whales. And this site is super interesting because it illuminates a lot about whale evolution that we didn't know until we really took a good look at these skeletons, because these like long, scattered, like serpent-like trails of bone out in the desert are actually the skeletons of this long extinct suborder of whales known as Archaeoceti. I think I'm saying that right. I looked up a video, but the lady was a robot, so I don't know if she was saying it right.
Yeah, who knows? Can we trust robots? No. Simply.
Simply no. But Sophie, yeah, these whales are cool. And yeah, they're like out here in the desert like cool mystery ships in the night. But why are they so important? Well, 'cause they have motherfucking legs. These
What?
whales have legs.
Wait.
These whales have legs.
No.
These whales have legs. These whales have legs. These
So
whales
they-
have legs.
So they swam, but also could walk on the bottom of the ocean? Like, what's going on?
We'll get into why they have legs in a second. But I do just want to say that a lot of people will use this site to back up their crazy conspiracy theories. And I just want to tell you that it's crazy enough that the whales have legs and you don't need to make shit up because this is wild.
And how is this the first that I'm hearing of it? Like, this is a conspiracy.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because these fossils kind of cement in a theory that whales as we know them today started off possibly as land-dwelling animals.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So the first like fossils of whales that were discovered here were discovered in the winter of like 1902. And people kind of then forgot about them for 80 years. Just kind of like, oh, they're out there. But it's such a remote spot that it's real hard to get out there. And it wasn't until like the 1980s when there were more like 4-wheel drive vehicles more readily available that they could like actually get out there and start studying what was out there.
Yeah.
And also during this time, a lot of looters came out to try to steal parts of these skeletons because, you know, cars were accessible to more people, so they weren't just accessible to archaeologists, they were also accessible to thieves. So, you know, it kind of became a race towards preservation on this one.
Jesus.
Well, isn't that how it always goes? Humans discover it and we want to steal it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a piece of a whale skeleton would be a really cool thing to hang over your fireplace.
I mean, no one's saying that wouldn't be rad to have, it's just wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong. From an archaeological standpoint, it's wrong.
Yes, yes. They will come and take our good archaeology boy cards if we don't say that.
That's right.
Okay, so since their discovery in 1902, they've kind of, like we said, given us a really cool snapshot of the final stages of whales losing these back legs and kind of transitioning into what we would call whales. We don't really know what came before these skeletons that we have, still working on that. But basically these remains show that they had a streamlined body form of like modern whales, but with some more primitive aspects in the skulls and teeth. So they have this specific tooth shape, which verifies that they're related to mesocidids, which were like these carnivorous hoofed animals that are more like wolves. And it wasn't until like 2005 when a team of American and French scientists discovered this kind of missing link between like those more hooved creatures and whales, which is the hippopotamus, which is funny.
Oh my god, like I would never put wolves and whales in the same category with anything.
Yeah. I mean, they're like wolves. They weren't wolves specifically.
I know, but it's like, what?
Yeah, it's just interesting because they're also placed in a taxonomy that puts them in the group of archaeodactyls, which also include camels, pigs, and giraffes.
Okay, sure.
So the largest skeleton in this valley is 21 meters in length, and they have 5-fingered flippers on the forelimbs, and then on the back limbs, they have like feet and legs and toes, which is really weird.
So wait, in the front they've got like arms, but also flippers?
They've got fins. No, in the front they have flippers,
Okay.
and in the back they have like legs with feet.
That's a merman, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Oh my god. Sophie, that's a merman, you dumb shit. Okay. So these fossils are also like these fossils and skeletons are also super well preserved. There are some that even their stomach contents are still intact.
Oh, it's so cool when that happens.
I know, right? As we said, the justification for this site becoming a heritage site is that it shows us kind of the timeline of where we got whales from. And, although this place is so remote, only about 1,000 people visit every year, which is not very many. It still provides us with insights into how evolution works and how whales went from land to sea. That's wild. I'm just going to end with these whales have legs.
Yeah, because it is very shocking.
It's just wild. And that's the Valley of the Whales.
Ugh, evolution, man. There's nothing like it.
I don't know. I got on this evolution track when I was doing this research, and I was like, animals are cool because they became cool. And they were cool back then, and they just got cooler.
Yeah. Speaking of cool.
I think it's time for an ad.
Yay!
Hello, friends. I'm Taya.
And I'm Sammy.
And we're the hosts of the Offbeat Worm podcast.
Come check us out. We talk about so many things.
Spooky things, silly things, and everything in between. Find our show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
And we'll catch you on the Offbeat.
See you soon.
Now, for my second one, I am going to tell you about La Mer Giers. I'm definitely saying that wrong. But they're also known as bearded vultures.
Oh, God.
So these nasty things... I should say my sources for this were also the Discover Wildlife article and Wikipedia, of course. So bearded vultures have adapted to allow a diet of up to 90% bone.
No.
Yes, that's on the high end, but they can eat mostly bone. It's insane.
Oh my God. Animals are so buck wild.
Yeah. So they have a extra long intestinal tract that helps them with the digestion. And they also have their gastric acid has a pH of about 0.7, which is pretty close to hydrochloric acid. So their stomach is just eating up this bone like it's nobody's business.
I was gonna say, if a vulture ever barfs near you, get out of the way.
Yes, definitely get out of the way. It's probably hacking on a bone. Bearded vultures like to hang out in mountains and cliffs.
Same.
Gorges,
Same.
The forest is good too. They like lightly populated, kind of desolate areas where they're going to have access to some bones and predators that give them access to those bones. So they want to be around wolves, and this source says golden eagles apparently provide a lot of material for the bearded vultures to eat. So I don't know.
Bitch, am I a vulture? I don't like people. I want to be where the bones are at. I want to be around wolves.
Well, I mean, bearded vultures are pretty cool, even though I think they're weird. So, yeah, that tracks. So, the vulture is usually between 37 to 49 inches long, and their wingspan can be up to 9.3 feet.
Fuck.
Which is crazy.
That's big.
Yeah, big bird. And they usually weigh between 10 and 17-ish pounds. Vultures are typically scavengers. This bearded vulture typically eats mostly mammals, other birds, and a little bit of reptile in there. 1% reptiles, according to Wikipedia.
Well, that's not nothing.
Yeah. So these birds really actually, their favorite part about the bone is the bone marrow.
Of course it is. That's the good part.
That's the good part. Exactly. So they have over the years, they have evolved to have a special way to feed on this marrow. So they can swallow or bite through bone, and that can be apparently up to the size of a lamb's femur because they have these acids in their stomach that are bring it on, bitch. But the coolest thing about them, they have figured out a way to break bones that are too big for them to swallow. And so they fly up into the air and they fly up to like 500 feet above the ground, and then they drop this fucking bone, and it smashes into smaller pieces so that they can get the marrow easier. I mean, it's got to be a big mess. They got to go find all the pieces, but like, you're a bird. What else do you have to do today?
Yeah, that's your whole day.
That's your whole day. It's really busy. So,
I mean, yeah, she's a boss bitch.
yeah. And apparently they can fly to break bones that are like, they can fly with this bone that is almost equal to their own weight in order to break it. So they're just so strong. So strong. And then after they drop the bones, they like go down, they fly down, they spiral down, whatever. And then they might repeat this process if, of course, the bone is still not broken. And they have to practice this, and apparently it could take them up to 7 years to get good at breaking bones this way.
I mean, but ain't that life?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it takes a long time to get good at something. Sometimes you gotta drop a bone from the sky onto the ground every day for 7 years till you really
Until
figure
you
out
get
how
it
to
right.
get that sweet marrow. Yeah. Until your big bird parrots look at you and finally say, I'm proud of you. Good job on the podcast. I mean on the bone breaking.
But yeah, that's bearded vultures for you.
Fantastic. I love that. I think, did you look into anything around Tibetan sky burial when you looked into that?
No.
There's a type of ritual burial that involves vultures eating people, corpses, ritualistically.
Yeah. Interesting. Maybe jot that down for a future episode topic.
Oh, it certainly will be. It's really fascinating spiritual practice.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So now for something completely different, my last bone topic. We've been talking about evolution. We've been talking about animals, why they are the way they are. We're going to veer way off of that and go into how we wish animals were.
Cool. I'm listening.
This is an article from The Independent, and this is about how Britain's ancient Celtic population made hybrid animals through burial.
Oh my god. So like they P.T. Barnumed it a little bit?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So this was basically, these sets of bones were discovered in Dorset, which is in England, by archaeologists that are like deliberately arranged by, they think, Iron Age Britons in order to create like hybrid animals.
What the fuck? These people obviously had a lot of time on their hands.
They did, because some of the placements that they found, that archaeologists from Bournemouth University found, were a cow which had probably been sacrificed, had its own legs taken off and replaced by 4 horse legs, and then buried.
Oh god.
A sacrificed sheep with 2 heads, one its own head, and then another one a bull head.
Jeez, guys, what were you doing?
A horse with a cow's horn protruding from its forehead with the horn pointing inwards.
What?
Like a cow horn stabbed into the front of
Of a horse.
Of a horse. Yeah, a cow's upper leg with a horse's hoof.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there were all sorts of kind of mix and match animal pairings. And they found 2 examples which, like a cow, like a jawless cow skull had been deliberately paired with like a horse's lower jaw. And then another one where a complete dog with 3 cow lower jaws radiating from its lower jaw.
Oh my god.
How
Why?
fucking wild is
Why?
this?
Who did
Why? Let me first tell you about the best, arrangement,
this? Oh my god, okay.
So this one involves a human skeleton. So there was a young woman who might have also been sacrificed. There was evidence that her throat had been slit. And she was buried on what was basically a bed of arranged, like, cows, sheep, and dog and horse bones. And the bones of the animals were, like, lined up with her bones. Like, all the skulls were underneath her skull, and all the limb bones were underneath her limbs.
Oh, that is so creepy.
Yeah.
Why? I can't stop asking. Why?
So they have dated the site and kind of have figured out, matched it up with what they know, like movement patterns of these people were. And they think that they might have been leaving this place. And they saw that a lot of these hybrid style burials were sacrificed animals, and they were found in places where these homes were likely abandoned, like directly after this. So they think that it was maybe a ritual that was done when abandoning like a home.
Sure. Just like really fuck it up and make the vibe just terrible.
I mean, yeah. It's interesting because this kind of proves that they had hybrid creatures probably in their mythologies.
Sure.
So it might be that they were leaving, at least this is my inference from what I've read from this, is that they were leaving hybrid, either guardians of the space or like protectors of their space as these hybrid animals.
Sure, yeah, it worked in Spy Kids too.
Sure, yeah, the thumbs.
No, the tiny animals. Steve Buscemi's character literally mashes two animals together, so there's like a monkey and a spider in one.
Yeah, I remember this now.
Gotta watch some Spy Kids soon, apparently.
Apparently, I need to read my scripture, my Spy Kids. That is the hybrid animal burials. You thought you could get out of this episode without a strange burial, but you were wrong.
I was totally wrong. I was like, what's the thing that's not gonna come up? And then she did it. Wow, that's really interesting. Mystery, but yeah, I bet they were thinking like, yeah, this'll keep the area, free of riffraff.
Hybrid cow horse, keep the area free of undesirables, will you?
Yeah, I don't get it. So I wanted to start my final bonanza with my favorite thing ever. Quote, "Some fish can rattle their bones in order to convey a message to other fish."
Holy shit, what?
So my sources for this last one were my fishkeepingforever.com, a great website, and
oh my God.
Smithsonian Mag.
Fishkeepingforever. What was it?
Let me go back. Fishkeepingforever.com. I think it was like a blog or something. I'm not really sure.
You mean my new homepage?
Yeah. But according to them, fish can rattle their bones to send a message. But that's just a fun fact. Today, I'd like to finish off by telling you about the hagfish, aka the slime eel.
Yes, hagfish.
The hagfish is basically the only fish that you could say, like, does not have any bones.
Yep.
So unlike other fish, fish are mostly vertebrates, so they've got a backbone, but the hagfish has this thing called a notochord, which is, quote, "a flexible rod made of cartilage, which it uses to do the same job," meaning this cartilage is as good as a bone to the hagfish. Hagfish are also jawless, like the weird fish you mentioned.
Yeah.
They have the, like, 2 rows of these keratin structures that they use to just burrow so hard face first into their food, because
oh my God,
they're scavengers, so they just like find a dead animal and they just chow down hard and they burrow into that animal until there's no more animal left.
Damn.
So there are apparently 76 species of hagfish around the world, and they live in shallow water to water as deep as 5,500 feet.
That's insane.
Yeah. They can go months without food, but they can also absorb nutrients straight through their skin.
Okay.
Hagfish also don't really fit in the, like, invertebrate or vertebrate category. They're, like, more closely related to vertebrates, but they're not, like I said, because they don't really have a backbone. So why are they called a slime eel, you might ask? So they can, if they are threatened, they produce this nasty slime from glands that line their bodies. These glands secrete stringy proteins that when they come into contact with the water turn into this like nasty, sticky slime.
Ugh.
And then
Gross.
and then I'm just gonna quote this. This is from Smithsonian Mag. Quote, "To prevent choking on its own slime, a hagfish can sneeze out its slime-filled nostril and tie its body into a knot to keep the slime from dripping onto its face."
Katelyn, what the fuck?
I found the most cursed creature.
What the fuck did you just tell me? Did you just tell me? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I signed on to this podcast with you, right? And we are gonna do it for this foreseeable future.
Yeah.
I never want you to tell me such a thing again.
You didn't think that any slime would ever come up on anything bones?
I mean, you've told me about gruesome axe murderers. You've told me about terrible rotting corpses, but nothing has ever made me want to tear my own face off as much as this eel that is so slimy that it might drown in its own slime if it doesn't do a big sneeze and tie itself in a knot.
It has to save itself from itself.
Oh my god. I thought I felt called out by the fucking vultures.
No, this is nobody could be a hagfish. But I will say, I'll end on a positive note here. They are gross. They are cursed. But of course, they do help with, recycling the dead animals on the bottom of the seafloor.
Yes, we are thankful to the hagfish.
Yeah, so they do serve a purpose, but I can't, for the life of me, figure out why they had to be so nasty.
They serve a purpose, but I don't condone them.
Yeah. I was gonna just talk about fish in general, but I decided to focus in on the hagfish because they're just so weird.
So nasty.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about fish because my brother-in-law that died in September of this year, he was an avid fisherman and outdoorsman. And so I had talked to Sophie about this, but I want to just dedicate this animal, Bone-anza, to my brother-in-law. His name was Bob. He worked for the Oregon State Department of Lands for 23 years, so he really cared about habitats and wetlands and fish populations. Yeah, he really cared about learning, too. He really taught my nieces, his two daughters, they're 13 and 8. He really taught them just to, keep learning. And, with COVID and everything, he was home teaching them a lot. And he really, they've said, made learning fun. And I remember one time, my nieces knew, so much about fish and animals and all this stuff. So Bob didn't want a funeral, but I wanted to dedicate this episode to him because I think this would have been right up his alley.
Yeah, I think you would have loved it.
So thank you. Thanks everybody for listening. This one was a little more personal for us, for me. I'm glad we could keep some good weird animal shit in there.
Yeah. And it was a nice heavy episode.
Yeah, we ended up talking about fish a lot, which Bob would have absolutely loved. I'm really glad that this podcast is around. Thank you for being here, Soph. Thanks for listening. Be kind to your bones and appreciate your bones. And life is too short, it turns out. So live for today.
Bon voyage?
Okay, I think I made Sophie cry. I'm sorry.
No, I just think that's a very sweet sentiment and very true. And, I love you, Katelyn.
Yeah, I love you too.
Have a great week, everybody.
Yeah. And there's only one thing left. Bone voyage! Okay, bye.
Love you. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Anything Bones. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Anything Bones Podcast, or email us at anythingbonespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you to Nick Kruger for our spooky music and Stephen Vetteroff
At Chubby Scrubby on Twitter,
for our jazzy vocals, and thank you to Camilla Franklin
at Camilla Strader on Instagram.
for our beautiful bony artwork. Please rate, review, and subscribe.
These whales have legs.
Huh. Very nuanced.